To meet this challenge, a unique solution. Build the elevated roads from above. Known as a girder launching system, the temporary structure is erected above the road deck. Each 40-meter segment of the roadway is lifted beneath the scaffolding and rolled into place. Then lowered on the piers. When complete, the scaffold is rolled over the next section. The process begins again. Jakarta is planning to add over 60 kilometers of elevated roadway throughout the city, much of it using this mode, including highways, toll roads, and portions of an outer ring road. Potential solutions across, above, and around Jakarta.
This launcher system is one of the available options to move girder blocks on the bridge. The system is applied whenever the workspace is limited. It's also safer security-wise. There are no obstructions in the land beneath.
Another reason to raise the roads is to get above the flooding. That's because parts of Jakarta are subsiding. For decades, Jakarta residents have pumped water from the ground for drinking, cooking, and bathing. And with it, the very foundation beneath their feet disappeared. The result is known as subsidence, the literal sinking of the land due to groundwater removal.
30 years ago, the residents didn't realise that pumping a lot of groundwater would cause land subsidence because you can't see it with the eye.
40% of Jakarta sits 1 to 2 meters below sea level.
You only sort of gradually realise 20 years later that we're all sort of living in lower land than what we were before.
During heavy rains, water pools in these low-lying areas. To keep up, Jakarta relies on a network of embankments, retention ponds, and pumping stations called polders. This is the Pluit Polder facility. Floodwater fills the holding pond, or polder. When the level rises, pumps at the station are used to discharge the water to the sea.
A total of 11 pumps, each with a different capacity, are used at the 3 structures.
Joko is the manager of the station. For 30 years, he's been fighting floods, one pump at a time.
If it were to rise up, we would use another pump. That's not enough still. We would add another one.
And there are over 300 pumps like this along Jakarta's coast. But sometimes, even that's not enough.
The cause of floods in Jakarta is from rainfall that's too intense for the amount of water we're dumping on the pumps.
The Pluit station has a pump capacity of 48 cubic meters per second. And in this neighborhood, it's not unusual to receive 50 or 60 cubic meters per second of floodwater.
If there's heavy rain and we can't pump fast enough, then there's probably going to be a flood in Jakarta.
But another powerful force is at play that can overwhelm any pump. Jakarta can get flooded from more than one direction. Jakarta occupies 650 square kilometers, but 260 kilometers of it sit below sea level. During times of flooding, rainwater, unable to reach the sea, can pour into low-lying areas. but North Jakarta gets hit from two directions. During high tide, the ocean embankments can be topped. Called raw floods, seawater flows directly into the city. To beat Mother Nature, Jakarta has begun a massive land reclamation project. Although controversial, over 30 kilometers of North Jakarta's coastline are being built out. Artificial land is being extended 1.5 kilometers into the Java Sea. Over 2,700 hectares of dredged land will be used to forge islands. Apartments and residential areas will rise on what is now the open ocean, providing much-needed housing for the growing population. And surrounding it, a new seawall, standing 3 meters above the ocean. These new islands will provide a buffer zone against the tide, to keep the rising ocean permanently at bay. And for the first time, much of North Jakarta's flooding may soon disappear. It's all part of a groundbreaking effort to reinvent the megacity and to tackle problems that were once considered insurmountable.